What up? What's going on, y'all? I'm back with another one. In this video, I'm going to be talking about being alone. Okay. First and foremost, let me say this: being alone and being lonely are two different things. Okay. But I think that there's an advantage to both. I know for a fact there's an advantage to being alone. I know that. Okay. At least for me. I'm gonna speak for myself. At least for me. I am the most productive when I'm alone. I am the most self-aware when I'm alone. Right? I'm the most. I'm me when I'm alone. Okay? I get a lot of things done. I learn who I am. I start to lean into the things that I like. I begin to focus on the things that bring me joy, the things that make me happy. And a lot of that is because I know who I am. Now, at one point in time, I didn't necessarily know who I was, meaning I didn't necessarily know what it is that I liked. I didn't necessarily know the things that really got me going. I didn't know the things that drove me, right? I didn't know what my purpose was. I was just out living life day to day, I was out of school, had a job, had a little bit of money, had my own place. I was just working. When I got off work, it was like, whoop-de-doo, let's go. What we doing here? And then I got into a cycle of that over and over and over. And what I began to realize was that when I reached out and hit my friends up, like, yo, what's up? What we doing? Where we going? What's popping? What's this, that, and the third? You know, if if I couldn't lock in with nobody, right? If everybody was like, well, yo, I'm going over here and I'm doing this or that or whatever, and it was like, yo, I gotta chill by myself. I'm like, nah. And so I was always looking to be a part of something or looking to be a part of whatever somebody else had going on, right? It's not until I started being alone, right? I started being alone that I began to like try to figure out, who am I? Like, what am I here for? What do I have going on internally, right? Not externally. Like, what do I like from the inside? What do I like? What can I do all day, every day, and not need anybody else around me, right? That is what I found within me for me being alone. Now, like I said, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Now, when you go through that lonely phase, that lonely state where you thought your friends were going to be there for you, right? You just went through a breakup. You thought your girl was going to be there for you. Or for the ladies, you thought your man was always going to be there for you. Somebody violated you. Your friend betrayed you. Your cousin wasn't loyal. They was disloyal. Whatever it was, right? And so now you feeling lonely. That's when you're starting to go through the part of where you're like detaching from other people. You're realizing, like, at the end of the day, all I have is me, right? And so you go through a lonely phase where you really don't know who you are when you are by yourself, right? That's what I went through when I was trying to figure out who I'm gonna link up with. Yo, where's the next party, or who's doing what, or who's going where? And when I couldn't find nobody, I was lonely. I was alone and I was lonely. The reason why I was lonely, because I really didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to entertain myself. I didn't know what it is that I liked to do. I didn't know what it was that got me going. That was the lonely phase, when you're detached from everybody else, right? There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. See, now I love being alone because I know exactly who I am. I know what I like. I know what get my gears going. I know what it is that I can do all day, every day. I know what I stand for. You know what I'm saying? I know what my boundaries are. I know what my standards are. All of that. You get what I'm saying? But when you don't know these things and you're alone, you feel lonely. You haven't figured it out yet. So going through the lonely phase is good, because then you get to know exactly who you are, what you're here for, what's your purpose. I believe that everybody kind of has to go through that lonely phase in order to figure it out. You're so used to, listen, when you're young, right? you're used to being around other people, right? At minimum, you used to being around your moms and your pops, right? Whoever lives in your household. If you didn't have brothers or sisters or, other people in the house, you at least had your mother and your father, right? Then you went off to school. So now you always had, your little friend group, your classmates and stuff like that. So you, for the most part, always been around other people. Not until, you know, maybe you go off to college, and even in college you begin to like make friends in college and stuff like that. So you're still pretty much around other people, because when you go to class, you're around. But then when you really get out there, and the people that you thought were going to be there for you, right? Because now you depended on, you graduated college, you got a job, so now you got your coworkers and all that. When you realize, like, yo, they're not really there for me, something pops off, and nobody's there to help you when you're going through your hardship. Nobody's there to bail you out. Everybody's your best friend. Everybody cares about you. But then when you down and out, nobody's there for you. That's when you realize, you know what I'm saying, that it's just you. All you have is you. And that's when the shift begins. You begin to learn who you are. Once you learn who you are, you'll never be lonely. You get what I'm saying? Loneliness, and when you don't know who you are, you just by yourself. You used to being around other people being around you, you being able to converse with other people, talk about this, that, blah, blah, blah. You don't really stand for anything, so you fall for everything. You understand what I'm saying? When you don't have that around you, that's when you feel lonely. But when you know who you are, you just alone, and that's okay. In my opinion, that's when you grow the most. Just in my opinion. Why? Because not everybody is going in the same direction as you. You understand what I'm saying? Your life is your own independent journey. Even though you may have other people who you're cool with, you may have other people, you may be in a relationship, but that doesn't matter. Your journey is strictly your journey. It's yours, and that's it. I get it when you're in a relationship, right? Yeah, you relate with someone else, and y'all, whatever it is that y'all doing, but it's still your journey. You get what I'm saying? So I just want to break it down to y'all guys. Being alone is not necessarily the same as being lonely. So here's the thing. If you're by yourself, right? If you're by yourself, you're not in a relationship, you're going through a breakup, you're going through some type of hardship and nobody's there. It's just you. And you feel lonely. A lot of times it's because you don't know who you are. You don't know what gets you going. You don't know what sparks your interest. You don't know what piques your mind. You get what I'm saying? Listen, I could be by myself all day long and I can entertain myself. I know what I like. It's that simple. But when I don't know what I like, or when I didn't know what it is that I like, it was just all bad. You understand what I'm saying? So it's two different things. Being alone is not necessarily being lonely. But here's the thing. I believe that everybody needs to go through both of those phases. You need to go through the lonely phase. You need to go through the lonely phase because you have to know how to be able to detach from other people and from other things. See, if you don't know how to detach, you're always going to have something that you need. You understand what I'm saying? You become a needy person. You're always going to have, something to make you feel right, to make you feel good, to make you feel valid, or whatever the case is. Going through that lonely phase is going to help you grow. Once you get to know yourself, you're not going to feel lonely anymore. Now, yeah, you may want company from time to time, right? Companionship and things like that. But you'll be okay with doing things by yourself. I know some people right now that can't do anything by themselves. Like, meaning like they won't go to a movie. They won't go out to eat. Like, they really won't do anything by themselves because it's just like they don't have anybody to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I talk to myself, not out loud. I don't think, maybe sometime. But I'm saying I could have a whole like conversation. I could have a whole dialogue with myself. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm cool with it. I don't need anybody around me to validate me, to make me feel like I'm worthy. I don't need anybody around me to distract me from the fact that I have no clue as to what it is that I'm doing out here in life. You understand what I'm saying? When you're around other people so much, you're going in their direction. You're getting pulled this way, you're getting pulled that way. This friend likes this, you're going over here, you're doing this over here, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to be on your path as long as you're so attached to other people. You get what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. Once you figure it out, once you get on your path, you're going to see how, for the most part, you're so much different than everybody else, right? And that's what it is. That's why it's so hard for a lot of us to get right on our journey, because we never separate ourselves from anybody else, and we're just kind of going the direction that everybody else wants to go. We're going to, but that's not what's in alignment for us. That's not where our journey is supposed to take us. We are so busy following everybody else's journey. Get in line with what it is that you want to do. It's okay to be lonely. It's okay to be alone. It's okay for both of them. But again, being lonely, you got to figure out who you are. You got to figure out what your purpose is. I totally believe that once you find your purpose, you'll never be lonely. Again, you may want companionship, right? You may want to interact with other people in some way, shape, or form, but that is going to, for the most part, probably be to a minimum, because once you get on your purpose, you're going to be so driven and so focused on that, and you're going to realize that other people around you are not, and then you being with those people is taking you away from what it is that you actually love to do. Trust me, your need for other people to be around them and be in their company and things like that is going to be very, very minimal. I'm telling you. So guys, being alone and being lonely are different. Go through the lonely phase. It's okay. You'll figure it out. You'll figure out who you are. You'll figure out what you stand for, what your boundary. Go through the lonely phase. It's okay. But just remember, being alone is different than being lonely. All right? I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good.